Assalamualaikum. Let's commence with today's lecture. First of all, the lecture regarding elements and principle of design. That will be discussed next week. It's a lengthy topic, and today I want a live lecture. It's a short topic, just of a half an hour. So we will complete it. After this, you are supposed to write your comments in the chat box, and further, if you feel any issues regarding the lecture, you can write your comments in the chat box. And thirdly, let's begin with the phases. Okay, one of the student is still trying to enter in the meeting room with his name. He is not allowed, so I am just going to remove him. So if he will not let the meeting himself, he has to leave it, or otherwise I will definitely going to remove him. Okay, the phases of design, it means organizing the complexity, that how architects collaborate with the different consultants around them to build the building around you. So, in simple words, we can say that these phases help to learn us that how actually building came into being. There are five phases. The first phase is named as pre-design, which we have studied previously in the design process. Then the schematic design, design development. The fourth phase is construction, documentation, bidding, and sometimes it involves building permitting as well. We sometimes refer them as a separate phases, and other times we consider them as a similar phase. The last phase is regarding construction administration. Okay, so what are the stakeholders that architect need to collaborate with them? He needs to collaborate with the client, engineer, and builder. The engineers are involved in this right with the start of the third phase, that is known as design development, construction documentation, and construction administrator. But builder or contractor is involved in the last two phases, which are construction documentation and administration. So apparently, the flow seems very simple and straightforward, but the truth is that the number of stakeholders involved in each aspect of the process, they have different thoughts, different perspectives, different expertise that are necessary to create a successful product. So this is not possible for them to design individually. All of them has to understand the significance of profession of other consultants, and they have to manage all together to make a building successfully executed. So let's define the phases one by one. The scope of the project will be reviewed. The program and analysis of the site is actually part of pre-design phase. Zoning requirements is the new term. The zoning requirement stands for that if there is any plot or a site on which you have to execute your building, what you can do is that you are supposed to zone that plot initially, zone according to your requirements. For instance, you have to find out that where to locate your building, on which part of the site. Then you have to locate that where you want to add the parking area, where you want a lawn area. So all these parts are used as a zone. So you have to divide your site in different sections. Then schematic design, it is the translation of the project's building program into 2D technical drawings like floor plans, elevations, sections. So these are the 2D drawings that with the step, it should be one more mature step regarding designing of buildings. Then design development, extend schematic designing include materials. In this phase, all the building services and materials, all techniques, they are collaborate with the design, and ultimately we use sometimes 3D modeling and software simulation processes to formulate our purpose design concept. Then construction documentation, it's a comprehensive set of instructions with everything from type of door, node to location of outlets to hand over the to contractors for the building phase. So in this phase, not only we have the drawings, but yes, we have the all the details relevant for construction. For example, even the detail of the mullion of a window or detail of a type of material, which type of window you are going to make here or which type of ventilator you are going to design in the building. All these details are provided in these documents. Last is the request for information. If any document is incomplete, then you have to further provide details, or any further details are required in any documentation for execution process. These are provided in construction administration process. So let's define pre-design. It's the begin starting process. Here, architect reviews the building list of requirements or building program. He gathers information by visiting the site and visit the surrounding areas of the site. He also researched the previous case studies and precedents, examples, so that he can work more efficiently on the assigned task. So the main goal is first of all to gather information about the client, his personality, living style, his likes and dislikes regarding any space quality, arrangement of spaces, and what are his future perspectives about the design. This information is then organized into document which is known as program. It describes about the standard sizes of rooms and spaces. It also provides with any unique feature. For example, if someone wants to add a aquarium or an open green area or a patio to their living room, it's a unique feature that you have to add. So such preferences are added in the design. This phase is observing and documenting the existing conditions of site. For example, demarcation, yeah, marcation of the or measurement of the existing structure within the site and okay, after analyzing the surrounding area, climatic condition, the local people living in the surroundings, rules and regulations that affect the project, for example, height specifications of the building, or according to the site, you have to see the bylaws. Then you track the zoning summary. We have already discussed about what actually zoning is. Then you have interviews with the client to understand in more detail that what actually he demands, and sometimes you give him home assignments as well so that you can better understand and better in a more better way design that what he actually demands. So here we have deliverables. Deliverables are actually PD deliverables. It helps you to show that what are the documents by the end of this phase you are collecting from this phase. And the next PD duration is the time which you requires for the completion of this phase, that is round about 1 month or 2 to 4 weeks. This is one of the example of the site context. The colored image is your building, in which at the left side you are respecting the height of the buildings at the left, while on the right side the buildings having a lower height. So you have made the form of your building in a way that it is respecting the surrounding buildings. So to make your design more better appear in the site, you have to respect your surrounding. This is one of the proposal, the way you give a one concept to your architect, your client. but the client wants more changes and alterations in your design. So this will be the next proposal. It is a standard organization chart because all the pre-design phase is going to be handled in the architectural firm. So their hierarchy is this way. You have a principal architect under him, a senior interior designer, senior architect or planning architect, planner, designer, project manager. All of three are working under their domains. Interior designers, draftsmen, and CAD technicians are working. Sometimes your undergraduates who has completed their 3 years can work as an internal architect in the firm. So the next phase is regarding schematic design. The overall architect's preferences, the process enters in the schematic design where he explore about the more detail of the chosen concept. Here, the architect will develop plans, sections, elevations, and draw them on a particular scale so that it can be seen that the program and the site will having good relationship one another. Then you evaluate that how your building will actually look like by the end. In this phase, you deliver site initial draft of a site, initial draft of floor plans, even the basic exterior concept that how your building will look like, and it will take mostly 4 to 8 weeks. Sometimes you find perspective drawings. They are the handmade 3D drawings, or sometimes for further better understanding of the client about the concepts of the building, you provide simulated 3D models so that he can explore the process in a more broader way. At this point, the direction of the project is very legible. What you gathered from this phase, you gathered from this phase regarding field surveys, you make alternative designs. From those alternative designs and sketches, you visualize that what will be the route or what will be the pathway for your project to take off further. And after then, you discuss regarding the budget constraints and aesthetic preferences of the client, and you almost finalized your design, the selected option, and you refine that selected option in the next phase, which is known as design development phase. Here you set all the specifics of design. All the detailed dimensions are provided to the plans. Particular materials are chosen. Fixtures like fixtures involves like wash basin within the bathroom, shower cabinet within the bathroom, or a sink area in the kitchens. All sort of fixtures and equipments are documented, and you decide that what you are going to install on your building. Here you have to work with a number of consulting engineers like civil engineers, structural engineers, mechanical consultants, lighting consultants, and etc. This is one of the view of presentation drawings, floor plans, elevation of the building, section of the building, the dimensional plan or working drawing, and lastly the 3D model of the building. So in design development phase, depending upon the size of the project, sometimes architects roughly estimate the cost on the basis of his experience. But most of the time, for large scale projects, he requests cost estimator to provide with a comprehensive cost estimation so he can see that his proposal is within the domain of limitation of budget provided by the client, and make sure that all aspects are well covered and met the budget demands. So what you got by the end of this phase, you got rendered plans and drawings, presentation drawings, presentation 3D models, as well as some specifications of the detailed building design. This process takes duration of 8 to 12 weeks for completion. Here we have a list of other consultants involved within this development phase. Like sometimes you require landscape architects, architectural plans, foundation plans from the structural engineer, mechanical drawings for HVAC drawings, plumbing details for water supply and drainage, electrical drawings for lighting and illumination within the building. Then the construction documents. This is one of the most longest phase for the architect. All aspects of design must be detailed, and all aspects of the scope of the project should be well documented. On the basis of these, contractor will place their bids so that anything omitted will not be covered in their bids. So if you miss any detail in your drawings, the ultimate effect is the contractor miss that in the bids. And once you request your contractor that to add the missing detail, he will charge you once again. So to save such type of discrepancies, what you have to do, you have to provide a complete project to the contractor so that he can place his bid complete in all respects. Then contractor use drawings from which to build on and execute. Execution drawings simply he prepare. The drawings are approved by the architect and from where the execution process begins. The next process is regarding building permitting. Building permitting is just like asking for the license to build a building on a particular site. Might be regarding land uses. Land uses are again zoning scheme on your project. Then energy codes, like for example, the site has the bylaws that you have to produce some energy from the constructed building in the form of solar panels or any other form could be there. Or you have to conserve the water by adding any conservation technique for water reservation. These drawings are actually then forwarded to building authorities, just like Lahore Building Authority (LDA), and they will permit you the issue. Most of the time, there are many progress projects are in progress, so they have to review your drawings. It will take time. They will ask for further clarifications and information if anything is missing. Then sometimes your site is providing you with constraints. Constraints, for example, there is a historic dome nearby your building, so around 100 feet, you are not supposed to construct anything that will create vibration to the structure or it will affect its historical value. So every site having a different constraints. So this is a lengthy process, around about 12 to 24 weeks it is going to take. So drawings and specifications for bidding. This is delivered in the bidding process and it takes around about 3 to 6 phases. So why during the bid process you want an architect to be at your site? One of them, he will provide you a list of qualified contractors for bidding. The second one, he will review the submitted drawings and tell you that the existing drawing is according to the proposal you have provided. He can compare the cost figures. He is just assisting your client at his side. This phase will ensure that contractors who are considering for your construction project are reading your blueprints correctly and are providing an accurate bid for your project. So initially, the architect is the main coordinator who is coordinating with different consultants like acoustical consultant, mechanical, municipal, structural, lighting consultants, and along with the owner and later on your contractor. He is coordinating with the subcontractors, material suppliers, financiers, insurance, and your labor as well. So the construction phase for the architect involves reviewing contractors' bidding drawings or shop drawings and on-site observation to confirm that what is being built conforms to the design intent. The architects play no role in how something is built, only to what is actually built. So finally, we are moving towards the last phase, that is construction administration. Okay, once you have selected a contractor and construction is underway, you move to the last phase. And this construction process assures conformance with the design intent or the dream should be materialized according to the proposal of the architect. So you can visit the site during the construction and address if you find any on-site, on-field conditions you find if any issue is there. You might have to amend your design a bit accordingly. So the final phase with all other described above will ensure the smooth and satisfactory construction of your project. You can contact us and take the first step towards building your new house. So, field observation reports are the requirement from this phase. Let's summarize the lecture. Initially, we started the lecture. It is having the five phases we are going to discuss here. The first phase is regarding the research. The second phase is regarding design and documentation. The third phase regarding pricing, and last phase is about constructing. So the pre-design is a phase that takes 2 to 4 weeks. It gathers information and do the background research about site and location, survey of existing conditions, determine zoning and land use requirements, definitely confirm about feasibility of the project and provide you with the alternative and better list of requirements, that is programming. So the main goal is to learn everything possible about your client goals and space requirements along with the site conditions. The next phase is the schematic design. It takes around about 4 to 8 weeks. This is when we start exploring your design concept. It is the time for testing options and getting a general idea of the look and feel of the building. What it involves? It involves sketches, 3D models, conceptual relationships, feedback of the client, design refinements, and preliminary documents like floor plans, exterior concepts that will be ready for final development. By the end of this phase, the building design development, the building is fully designed, the interior, exterior layout, the fixture details, dimensioning, all features, selected materials are complete. So it's a very milestone space where all advancement and refinement is done, and here you coordinate with all the relevant consultants along with the cost estimation and value of the project. Then construction documents. It involves design drawings into a precise and thorough set of construction documents containing the information necessary to communicate to a general contractor and build the project. Here, the coordination of consultant drawings, dimension drawings, and connection drawings is developed. Then, after your drawings are developed, you are supposed to submit them to the building authority, relevant building authority that will allow you or permit you the certificate that your building is as per the bylaws and you are not negating any rules and regulations set by the controlling authority. It involves sometimes building land use details, just like I was discussing about the site zoning in the initial lecture, initial slides. Then you provide any additional requirement if it is requested by the authority to provide and clarify how you deal with the problem. The next part is bidding. Some clients already have a contractor, the other ask the architects to provide him with the list, and they issue drawings and specs to the bidding contractors, answer the questions of the bidders. Also, they issue formal clarifications of necessary details if they are not clear. They review and compare the cost and the bids. The last phase is regarding construction. The last phase is regarding it ends up throughout the construction process where architect role is just to advise the owner. During this phase, they visit the job occasionally at regular intervals and answer the questions from the builder if there are any issues. Uh, he also review if there is any on-site constraint, he tries to resolve it, and definitely it will help you to execute the project. Okay, now write down your queries in the chat box. I will answer them, and please write down your registration numbers, all of you, for the sake of attendance in the chat box. So this is all for today. Start writing your queries in the chat box. Development is the most refined form. Secondly, regarding the bidding negotiations, will be at the start of the project. No, bidding negotiations are almost at the that bidding process starts after you take the building permit. Sorry, building permit certificate. So the building bidding process start at the fourth phase of design, and it's almost when all the design is complete, and it involves in the process of pricing just before construction phase. Okay, any other queries? Please write down your registration numbers. Just have to know that overall construction of the project. You don't need to detail out. The details will be further given by the cost estimation consultant. But you should know that you should not exceed from the certain amount while proposing or giving your proposal for construction cost of your project.